Hello my friends, my name is Amy Colibri and welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. Today I want to have a heart-to-heart with you about something that I've been working through myself, something that I think might resonate with a lot of you too. Have you ever been sitting in a group, whether it's friends, family, colleagues, or online communities, and felt this little nudge inside of you, this thought or feeling bubbling up inside of you of something that you'd like to share, but then you hesitate? You wonder, is this important enough to share? Will people care? Should I wait for a better moment? I see you, my fellow introverts and deep thinkers. I feel you. And today I want to talk about why this hesitation happens and how we can gently move beyond it, because your voice matters in every group that you're in, even in the quietest of moments. Recently, I've begun group therapy, and it's become such a beautiful mirror reflecting back parts of myself I hadn't fully recognized. Group therapy is where several people come together and meet on a regular basis with a trained therapist to share experiences, insights, and support each other through life's challenges, creating a safe and supportive container where everyone can give and receive healing. It's really super beautiful. And as someone who's naturally introspective and, let's be honest, a bit of an overthinker, I've found myself doing here what I always do, which is sit back, listen, process everything internally, and rarely speak up. I'll have thoughts, connections, even emotional responses to what others are saying, yet I somehow talk myself out of voicing them. I don't want to take the conversation off track, or I think that someone probably has a better question than the question I'm thinking of asking this person, or my thought isn't fully formed yet, so I'm going to wait. Does this sound familiar to any of you? Last week, the group analyst spoke directly to those of us who tend to be more on the quiet side, and what she said honestly shifted something deep inside of me. She said, if something comes up for you, please share it with the group. Your thoughts and feelings are just as valuable as anyone else's. This is why we're here. If something is coming up for you, a thought or feeling that you can speak to from an I position, owning that thought and feeling as your own, it is going to be valuable for everyone. Such a simple sentiment, but it hit me like a revelation, because my pattern of holding back wasn't just happening in this therapy group, it was happening everywhere in my life. And this got me thinking about why so many of us struggle with this. Why do so many of us feel we need special permission to share what's alive in us? Like we need a microphone to our face, somebody asking, how do you feel about this? And how are you doing today? For many of us, surely it starts in childhood. Maybe we were taught implicitly or explicitly that children should be seen and not heard. Maybe when we tried to speak, we were interrupted. Or maybe we tried to share something once and were met with dismissal, criticism, or disgust. These experiences teach us to adapt. We learn to hold our thoughts and feelings close to us, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal them. Rarely they come. We learn to question the value of our contribution before we've even made it. But here's what I'm learning. These adaptive behaviors that once protected us are now limiting us. They're keeping us from being fully present and authentic in our communities and relationships. And it could be said that in our online communities, these behaviors are keeping us from sharing what's going on inside of us, and thereby keeping us from creating the meaningful connection and community that we so desire. And in these times we're living in, when so many of us feel disconnected and unseen, our willingness to share ourselves authentically becomes not just an act of courage, but a gift to those around us. I've started to share more in the group when I feel I have something to add. I remind myself that I have full permission to share if I feel I am holding something in the group, or that something is coming up for me that could add to the group experience. And from a group dynamic perspective, as each person shares a little bit more about themselves, as they learn a little bit more about me, the group cohesion is strengthened. And also, I feel more safe as I hear each person share about themselves in a heartfelt, responsible, vulnerable way. So how can we begin to change this pattern? I've been working on this myself, and I'd like to share some gentle practices that have been helping me. Start with awareness. Notice when you're holding back. What sensations come up? What thoughts or fears arise? Just observing this pattern with compassion is the first step. Number 2, own your experience. You're not speaking of global truths here, you're just speaking your unique truth. So using I statements is super important here. You could say something like, I notice that I feel, or I have the thought that, or when this person says this, it makes me feel, this takes the pressure off of you needing to be right. You're just owning your unique experience. Number 3, start small. You don't have to make grand declarations. Sometimes the most powerful contributions are simple. I'm resonating with what you said, or I'm reacting differently, and I'm curious about that. Number 4, embrace imperfection. Your thoughts do not need to be perfectly formed before you can speak. Sometimes speaking something incomplete can actually allow others to help you develop it in a way that you couldn't by yourself. And number 5, remember the gift of your perspective. No one else sees the world exactly as you do. Your unique viewpoint might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. You know, I've been thinking a lot about why this matters so much. And I think it's because speaking our truth in community is how we remember that we're not alone. It's how we strengthen our sense of belonging. When we share something vulnerable and someone responds, me too, there's something magic that happens. The space between us shrinks. We remember our shared humanity. And sometimes the very thought or feeling that we've been holding back is exactly what someone else needed to hear to feel less alone in their experience. I also think that there's something really powerful about normalizing the full range of human experience in our groups and communities. When we only speak up when we have something profound to say or when emotions are running high, we perpetuate the idea that only the dramatic parts of life are worth sharing. But what about the quiet realizations or the subtle shifts in perspective, the gentle questions that can arise? These deserve space too. Be gentle with yourself with this process. This isn't about forcing yourself to speak when it doesn't feel right. This is about removing the unnecessary barriers that we place between being our authentic selves and the world around us. So here's my invitation to you, my beautiful, thoughtful friends. Can you give yourself full permission to share your truth, no matter how small it might seem? Can you trust that your voice adds value to the tapestry of voices around you? I'm learning to do this myself, one small share at a time. And sometimes my voice still shakes. I think that's normal. Sometimes I still second guess if I should have spoken up at all. But each time I push past my hesitation, I feel a bit more whole, more present, and more connected to the group and to myself. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you have trouble speaking up in groups? Have you found practices that have helped you? Share in the comments below. Let's create a little community of practice right here. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you for listening, for reflecting, and for perhaps recognizing a piece of yourself in my words. Because sharing your voice is part of getting ready for your upcoming role. If you'd like to watch a video of me talking about how to prepare for your upcoming role, click on this video and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye.